How's it going, Freeze? My name is Tristan Branham, and welcome to a new video. So, I have a question. Easter is almost here, or is already here, depending on when you're watching this. But what is it about? Now, I know if you ask a kid, they'll let say it's about the Easter Bunny coming at night to all the houses in the world and placing eggs in their basket. But what? I mean, I know that kids believe in a Easter Bunny, but why have we come up with a story of an albino bunny putting eggs in baskets? I mean, first off, it's spring, and the rabbit's fur is supposed to be brown, not white. That's why I think it's albino. And why eggs? Rabbits are mammals. Therefore, they give live birth, so what's with the eggs? Well, kids, it's time we talk about the real meaning of Easter. About 2,000 years ago, there was this man, and his name was Jesus. Jesus was this amazing person. He would be able to heal the sick. He had the blind to see, the lame walked. He would perform amazing miracles. And he had these 12 people with him all the time. They were called disciples. And, well, one of them betrayed him. This is where our story begins. Jesus is about 36 or something years old. They were all in a garden. And Jesus was the Son of God. Let's put that out there. What happened was he heard, when he knew that he was going to die. So, and he knew that it was going to be extremely painful. So, this one night, he told the disciples to pray. The disciples ended up sleeping. But Jesus was in the garden praying to God, saying, if there's any other way, then I would take that rather than this path I'm going to take. He prayed and he pleaded with God to take that away from him. If there's any other way to do what he was going to do, then he would take that without a second thought. And he was stressed. I mean, he was going to do something amazing that was going to be a painful path to get there. And he sweated blood. It's actually a scientific fact that if you get so stressed, you can actually sweat blood. Think of a college senior trying to get every project in the last minute. Multiply that by 10. That's about the stress Jesus was taking. Anyway, he realized that there is no other way. So he went back to his disciples, woke them up, and said that the man who will betray me is coming in. Enter Judas, one of his 12 disciples, came in, followed by hundreds of Roman soldiers. They took Jesus, and the disciples fled, including Judas with the money he was given. Jesus' crime was Jesus in the Roman world was looked at as a criminal for what he did. The spiritual leaders of the world wanted him dead because he claimed himself as the Son of God. That did not go well with him. So, they didn't want him in prison. They didn't want him captured. They wanted him dead. So, they began to beat him. They would hit him with their fists, spat on his face, I bet. And then they decided to whip him. They ripped his clothes up and they hung him on this wooden stone, a post of some kind. And they would hit him with a specific type of whip. This whip was called the Cat of Nine Tails. This whip was, how do I describe it to you? Imagine a handle. And at the end of this handle there would be 9 straps. At the end of these straps, there would be lead balls, leather thongs, and sharp sheepskin. What these would do is when you whip them with the person, it would catch onto the flesh and meat, and when you rip it out, it would pull huge chunks of meat out. They whipped Jesus with this. They whipped him front and back, forward. They whipped him front and back. And you can only imagine the amount of bleeding that was caused. In fact, they say that the bones of his back were visible. Jesus lost so much blood that he was in shock. And if you know what that is. That's what the Bible comes in. Jesus was just beaten here. I will read from Matthew 27:1-5. Now when morning came, all the chief priests and the elders of people conferred together against Jesus to put him to death. And they bound him and led him away and delivered him to Pilate the governor. Then, when Judas, who had betrayed him, saw that he had been condemned, he felt remorse and returned, with 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, saying, I have sinned by betraying innocent blood. But they said, What is that to you? What is that to us? See to that yourself. And he threw the pieces of silver into the temple sanctuary and departed, and he went away and hanged himself. Judas, who had betrayed Jesus, followed him for years, and he betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver, and finally repented. But he felt the guilt, and as if he couldn't fix anything. He wanted to fix it. He wanted to stop this beating. He wanted Jesus free. He even gave back the money. But it was too late. And for the guilt, Judas killed himself. But no matter what he could have done, he wouldn't have stopped it. Because this was not human's will. Believe it or not, this was God's will.
Letting go of every single dream, I lay each one down at your feet.
Now, when Governor heard word of this, he had rumors of the spiritual elders and pretty much anybody wanting to crucify Jesus. Crucifixion meant you would hang on a cross, which was the most painful way to die back at that time. In fact, it probably still is. But he didn't want that. The governor wanted different. I'm reading this from Matthew 27:15. Now at the feast, the governor was accustomed to release for the people any one prisoner whom they wanted. At that time, they were holding a notorious prisoner called Barabbas. So when the people gathered together, Pilate said to them, "Who do you want me to release for you, Barabbas or Jesus, who is called Christ?" For he knew that because of envy they had handed him over. The governor was planning to release Barabbas, which was probably a killer or who knows what, or Jesus. Now, I think you know who they chose to be free and who was sent to death. Matthew 27:21 through 26. What I got here? But the governor said to them, "Which of the two do you want me to release for you?" And they said, "Barabbas." Pilate said to them, "Then what shall I do with Jesus who is called Christ?" And they all said, "Crucify him." And he said, "Why? What evil has he done?" But they kept shouting all the more, saying, "Crucify him." When Pilate saw that he has accomplished nothing, but rather than a riot was starting, he took water and washed his hands in front of the crowd, saying, "I am innocent of this man's blood. See to that yourselves." And all the people said, "His blood shall be on us and our children." Then they released Barabbas for them, but after having Jesus scourged, he was handed over to be crucified. The governor wanted nothing to do with this, so he washed his hands. That seems reasonable. I mean, if I was the governor of this town, I wouldn't want to have this blood of an innocent man on my hands, but rather on the people. But it didn't matter. Jesus, his death would affect everybody. But they weren't done with Jesus. Oh no, they had a few more plans for him before his death. You see, they had already beaten him. He already looked dead, basically. But they had more to deal with him. They mocked him, calling him the King of the Jews, laughing, praising him. And they said that every king needs a crown. So what they did was they got thorn vines and bind them together into a crown, basically. And they put it on his head and shoved the thorns into his head. Now, I don't need to tell you that blood loss from the head is very dangerous to the human body. And then they led him onto a mountain. This mountain was out of town, but it had to be seen by the entire town. And he had to carry the cross itself up there. The thing that he would be hung from till death, he had to carry miles uphill. And there is debate whether it was just the crossbar or the entire cross. Regardless of what it was extremely heavy and extremely hard to carry, that Jesus couldn't carry the whole thing. The Bible said that along the way Jesus collapsed and had no strength to carry it. So the Roman soldiers grabbed a random person from the crowd and told him to carry his cross. So they went up there, and then they nailed him to the cross. They nailed him through his hands to his feet. People say it was through the hands, but there's also talk about it going through the wrists. I believe it went through the wrist, but that's not the point. The point is he was nailed into the wood, and he was hanging like this. Alright, and the point of me telling you that is, this is how the cross kills you. When you're hanging like this, it gets hard to breathe. So you have to push yourself up to breathe, but then again, your feet are nailed into the cross as well. So you don't get up much. You get very short breaths, and you going up and down, opens up the wounds in your back. And what it does is it tires you out and it suffocates you. It can take anywhere from hours to days. But Jesus wasn't the only one who was nailed on the cross that day. There were in fact 2 thieves who were crucified on both sides of him. We head back to the Bible. Matthew 27:35 to 56. 35. And when they had crucified him, they divided up his garments among themselves. And when they had crucified him, they divided up his garments among themselves by casting lots. And sitting down, they began to keep watch over him there. And above his head they put up the charge against him, which read, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." Or that mocking. At the time, 2 robbers were crucified with him, one on the right and one on the left. And those passing by were hurling abuse at him, wagging their heads and saying, "You who are going to destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross." In the same way, the chief priests also, along with the scribes and elders, were mocking him and saying, "He saved others. He cannot save himself. He is the King of Israel. Let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe in him. He trusts in God. Let go rescue him now, if he delights in him, for he said, 'I am the Son of God.'" The robbers who had been crucified with him were also insulting him with the same words. Now let's stop there. That was 35 through 44. People were mocking him, laughing at him, saying, "If he is the Son of God, come off the cross." Because if you are the Son of God, and you have performed thousands of miracles. You have saved others. Why can you not save yourself? Why do you not have magic powers? Well, Jesus was held on a cross for more reasons than nails. People were mocking him. Even the thieves were mocking him. Well, what was? There's a story in the Bible, not specifically in this book, but there is a story in one of the others that one of the thieves looked at him and said, "If you really are the Son of God, then save yourself and us off this cross." And the other thief looked at him and said, Do you not fear God? Do you not fear the power of God? We have done what we... Dang it. The other looked at him and said, Do you not fear the power of God? We get what we deserve, but this man has done nothing wrong. Lord, remember me when you enter your kingdom. And Jesus said, I promise you, 2 of you will see me in heaven today. Jesus felt not angry at these men being on the cross, but in fact, he forgave them and loved them. Even when they nailed him to the cross, he didn't curse the men that nailed him. Instead, he said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. I can't imagine of a single man who would say that to his killers. Matthew 27:45. Now from the 6th hour darkness fell upon all the land until the 9th hour. About the 9th hour Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani? Lama sabachthani? Okay. That is translated, my God, why have you forsaken me? And some of those were standing there when they heard it and began saying, This man is calling for Elijah. Immediately one of them ran, taking a sponge, he filled it with sour wine, and put it on a reed and gave him a drink. But the rest of them said, Let us see whether Elijah will come to save him. And Jesus cried out again with a loud voice and yelled at the spirit. And behold, the veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. And the earth shook and the rocks were split. The tombs were opened and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they entered the holy city and appeared to many. Now the centurion and those who were with him, keeping guard over Jesus, when they saw the earthquake and all the things that were happening, became very frightened and said, Truly this was the Son of God. Many women were there looking on from a distance who had followed Jesus from Galilee while ministering to him. Among them was Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of the son Zebediah. Let's stop there. This is a powerful moment. When God said, my God, why have you forsaken me? At this very moment, God turned his head away from Jesus. When the reason the earth shook and the temple was destroyed and the veil was torn, God was angry that he shook the entire world. The guards were frightened that they said, "Kill them." They broke the thieves' legs so they couldn't push themselves up anymore to suffocate. But Jesus was already dead. He had shouted, "It is finished," and died. Therefore, a Roman soldier grabbed a spear and speared him up the side. And when the blood came out, he looked upon the cross and said, "Truly, this is the Son of God." For somebody to say crucifying him, this man is a fake, to do a complete 180 in your faith is amazing. But Jesus wasn't lost with the thieves. He wasn't just discarded off. He was buried. Matthew 27:57. When it was evening, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who himself had also become a disciple of Jesus. This man went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate ordered it and be given to him. Joseph took his body and put it in a tomb. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This man was the Son of God. This man had done nothing wrong, yet was crucified. Why was this man killed? He was the Son of God. He was going to bring peace to the earth. Why die now? The disciples didn't know this. The disciples didn't know why. People didn't know why. But something more supernatural happened than just his death. Like I said, the nails didn't hold him. When God turned his face away, sin was put onto Jesus, and the sin held him on that cross. And not just the sin of that time. Every sin committed, from past, present, to future, was bore on his shoulders. For the first time, Jesus felt the power of sin. And that was the reason he could not come off the cross. That was the reason he died on that cross. Because God said, the wages of sin is death. That death that Jesus took, the beating, the mocking, the cross, that was our punishment. He dealt with the most painful punishment ever in mankind. The death we were supposed to take, he took it for us. The Son of God, the King, he died for us. He took every sin that will ever be committed, and he forgave every last 2,000 years ago on that cross. Doesn't matter what you've done, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter if you killed 1,000 people, he forgave you because he loved you, and he died on that cross for you. He did this so you could end up in heaven today. John 3:16 says that God loved the world so much that he gave his one and only Son, so you will not perish, but you will have everlasting life, eternity in heaven with him. But the death isn't the end of the story. Oh no. We got more. It's not over. Matthew 28, 1 through 7. Now, after the Sabbath Sunday, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to look at the grave. And behold, a severe earthquake had occurred, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled away the stone that sat upon it. And his appearance was like lightning, and his clothing as white as snow. The gods shook for fear of him and became like dead men. The angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who has been crucified. He is not here, for he has risen, just as he said. Come, see the place where he is lying. Go quickly and tell his disciples that he has risen from the dead. And behold, he is going ahead of you into Galilee, where you will see him. Behold, I have told you." And greeted him. And they came up and took a hold of his feet and worshipped him. Jesus rose. This is known as his resurrection. Jesus Christ, who was beaten, mocked, and died on that cross, and rose from the grave. The angel came and scared the thieves away who had stealed the stone. Now the stone was rolled away, and Jesus walked out of that tomb, alive. He went to the disciples in Galilee. They stuck their fingers in the holes in his hands and feet and side. That was his flesh and blood. That was his body, alive again. This supernaturally doesn't hold. This supernaturally holds. This can only mean one thing. Jesus had defeated death. He had defeated sin. The war between God and Satan was over. Jesus had defeated the devil, finally. And his kingdom was placed upon heaven. And Jesus walked on earth and revealed himself to hundreds of people. The man that was dead had revealed himself. I believe that Jesus is still alive today. And he isn't done with his job yet. One day he will come back. I don't know when that day will be, but he will come back and he will finish what he started. Matthew 28, 16 through 20. But the 11 disciples proceeded to Galilee, to the mountain which Jesus had designated. Then they saw him, they worshipped him, but some were doubtful. And Jesus came up and spoke to them, saying, "All authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Go therefore and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I commanded you. And lo, I am with you, always, even to the end of the age." Jesus had left for heaven after he said that. And he had given us a mission. Our mission was to go around the world and teach the gospel of Jesus, the truth, to everybody. And that's why I'm doing this right now. The reason I decided YouTube was because this goes around the world. The entire world will have the opportunity to see this. If you clicked on this and just stayed this far, I thank you. My job as a Christian is to reach everybody. You are not a Christian. and you believe that he rose again, but you just don't know what to do. You've done so many bad things wrong. You don't know if he'll ever forgive you. He received whippings and a cross for you. And he still forgives you, and he still loves you. If you know for a fact that you're not Christian, and I beg you, go to a pastor, go to somebody who you know is Christian who will help you. Go to a pastor, go to a friend, somebody that will help you. Accept him as your savior. And that, my friends, is the story of Jesus Christ. So, enjoy your Easter, have fun, spend time with your family, and remember, a rabid bunny came into your house last night. Alright. Well, I had fun. I'd never done something like that before. That was actually really interesting. If you enjoyed this, leave a like. I really appreciate it if you do. Leave a comment if this meant anything to you, or if you... I probably forgot something. If you might want to let me know on that, or let other people know, or whatever. You can just really say anything on there. Just please be nice. That's all I ask. And if you're not subscribed yet, do it. I mean, I'll call you free, yeah, but you're a Jesus fan. Come on, how can that be bad? And I'll see you real soon. God bless.